Alright, today we're going to be learning how to draw comic book style hair. It's pretty easy. Just let's get to it. It's not too much. I'm going to give you a tip that I got a long time ago, or that I figured out a long time ago. Um Usually when you draw hair, you're going to draw it in chunks. Like there's all kinds of ways to do hair. It's not too difficult. Like I've already drawn a couple ovals here for a head. I didn't feel like drawing a complete face. And you know how the proportions work out. You go halfway down, there's eyes, or approximately halfway down, then you got nose, you got mouth. Well, you come up here, you basically got your hairline. Yeah, eyebrows be up here. Yeah, that's a good hairline. Um, and then your hair is never going to be like right where the top of the head is. It's always going to be like a little bit higher. So, like say you just want to do a messy head. We'll do a messy head first. And then you just come out, just give it a couple swirls like the dude just got out of bed. And then the ear is going to come right here. Ears right here. So we're just going to tuck that hair right behind the ear. And then the same way this way, a couple swirls. Dude just got out of bed, or he's a mad scientist or something. You're right there. And then you go from the hairline. It's going to go down into his face. Unless he's got really long hair, sideburns aren't going to be that messy. You know what I mean? Comes up, and then boop, right there. And see, once you take out, always keep your eraser handy. That's the other thing. Don't be afraid to erase. Nobody's perfect. There's a few people that can draw like amazingly and don't have to erase that much, but you know, whatever. Like, you got a messy head. Messy head. That wasn't too hard. You see that? Messy head. And then when you go into doing the rest, you can do a few things. The shading of the head. You hear the squeak of my chair. The shading of the head always depends on the color of the hair, because the lighter the hair, the less shading there's going to be. Like the darker the hair, like a Wolverine type, gets like a lot of shading, but more like a who's blonde? Like Sabretooth. Sabretooth is blonde. Like a Sabretooth type is more little less shading. You got your light browns, and you know, it all depends on what color you want to make the hair. And this time we'll assume it's darker. We'll go with like light brown, just an average medium, because you can just the hair's in chunks. The hair's always in chunks, so you're just kind of singling out chunks of hair along it. It also depends on the light source, which way you want to go. And then you're assuming there's more hair in there, so when it's a messy head, you can kind of do just mostly whatever you want when you come in. Because it's a messy head, nobody can tell you like, hair doesn't do that when you've been asleep all night. Like, do kind of what you want. There's always like a little spot. There's always a spot somewhere where you've been sleeping the most, and that can be like a point of origin almost. And then you come around, give it some shade. You get the idea. You get where it's going. We don't need to keep going there. And then let's do this head right here, because I didn't realize the shadow would be so bad. Then you got like your other types of hair, like actual combed hair. Actual combed hair will get you like let's go with like a Conan type, that side comb over. Except Conan does it huge. It's not go huge. Even I've seen cartoons that don't exaggerate as much as that hair. So you go from here. I used to do this when I was little. I used to have that hair where you just comb it to the side. And then whenever it comes out to the side, a lot of people feather it. I didn't. It depends how gelled down you want your guy's hair to be, or girl, you know. you know, hair's not hair's not mutually exclusive. You got, you put your ears there. You let it come down here, and you got your little sideness to it, little sideburn there. Boop, there you go. And then you show the underneath. That way, it shows the flip. See, you make the lines a little closer together, and it shows that it's a little bit darker. And now here, you actually have a point of origin because you're going from here to here. So you can just kind of show where it gets a little darker up. And like I said before, depending on what color you want your person's hair to be, it depends on how much shading you're gonna want. You can always put that little hair up in the back. Oop, that was always a hard one to get. I remember that from when I was little. But like, you throw in a little bit of shading. You throw in a little bit of shading, and there's a lighter hair. Boop, come in. And you got hair. Not that hard to do. And then and that kind of goes for any kind of wherever you want the part to be. You put the part closer to the middle, it's still gonna basically be the same. And then you can always this guy reminds me of Cyclops. Oop. Um, and then there's other things you can do, like the longer hair. Longer hair is always going to be, that's always going to be the funner one. Longer hair is always a lot more fun because sometimes there's a part and sometimes there's just kind of like slick back or just kind of from, you know what I mean? There's all kinds of things you can do. And I like to draw this line just as a bit of a point of origin so I can know where not to, because there's been times if I don't use that line, the hairline will go almost, it'll almost touch the eyebrows. So, you know. So you go around here and you can just kind of draw the outline of the hair first, and the more hair you have, the higher up it's going to be. You know what I mean? And you don't really think about that when you're drawing it or at first. That's why I mention it, because the head's here. You don't really want hair, doesn't really just like, unless you've just come out of the rain, it's not really even there. And even then it's still a little bit higher than that, because why would it just be your skull? But you gotta, when you do longer hair, you gotta take things into consideration like wind, and then light source whenever you do the shading. But like, longer hair can just, you can just do it down. There's always like in the wind, where you can go around and just, like just have it flowing. Have the little stray hairs just kind of going out doing their own thing. It's always, like I say, it's always in chunks. The chunks can be small, the chunks can be big, but it's always, and don't forget that hair doesn't stop here. Like, it goes down the back of your head. So if it's long hair, like, you have hair flying everywhere. So you can we'll just do this real quick, just to come in, and bam, you got hair flying in the wind. And then also hair comes around the front too, so don't forget that. Like, hair will be coming around. You're usually, whenever wind's blowing and you have long hair, I've had long hair. Whenever wind's blowing, you try to keep it out of your face and flow it through the back. But there's always the ones that get in your face. So, and then you come back and you put it in chunks. Like, that could have just been like one piece of hair, and then there's another one coming around. And you can add depth by making some stuff overlap others. But it's tough. It's tough to get that idea across. But you get the idea. We come up here, go with the strand, one big chunk coming from up here, and then you got all your stuff in the back. You can do your lines a little closer to show that it's a little more shaded. And just like any hair, just make sure it flows. Make sure it flows. Make sure you got what you need there. And this isn't the most, these aren't the greatest examples, but I'm doing it quick. And then once again, just depending on where, looks like she's wearing a hat. I should probably erase that. Depending on where you're at, on how you've decided to do all this, just have fun with it. Have fun with it. It's not a life or death situation. Just have some fun. Make some mistakes. Erase some stuff if you have to. You come around. Hair. You get the idea. It doesn't all need to be the same length. I mean, like, granted, but you get what I'm saying. It's not all gonna stop here. Some of it's gonna go out further, some of it's gonna be further back. And then you do a bit of shading. But that's just a quick overview on how to do comic book style hair. I hope that helps. If you like the video, like and subscribe. And there you go. I didn't think that'd be 11 minutes.